Think you know which meats are healthy after 60? Think again. Some of your everyday favorites like bacon, steak, even chicken could be quietly speeding up aging, hurting your heart, memory, and energy. But with a few smart swaps, you can eat well and feel better. Today we'll rank 5 meats from worst to best, and number 3 will definitely surprise you. Quick one. What meat do you eat most often each week? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear. And now, it's time for the intro. 3, 2, 1. It always starts with a simple question. A patient walks in. Usually someone in their late 60s, sometimes early 70s, and after we finish talking about their cholesterol numbers or blood pressure, they lean in and ask, "Doc, I've been eating healthier lately. I cut back on sweets, I go for walks, but I still like my meat. That's okay, right?" That's when I pause, because meat isn't just one thing. For someone in their 30s, the body can handle a wide variety of protein sources without making too much noise. But past 60, everything changes. Your metabolism slows. Your kidneys become more sensitive. Your heart, your bones, even your brain start reacting differently to what you put on your plate. The kind of meat you eat could either help you stay strong or silently pull you in the wrong direction. And yet, most people think it's just about the fat content. I always buy lean, they tell me, or I avoid red meat. But here's the thing. Some so-called lean meats are loaded with additives that raise inflammation. And some red meats, if chosen and cooked right, might be better than the turkey sandwich from your local deli. So, today we're going to set the record straight. We're going to rank the 5 most common types of meat people over 60 eat, from the worst to the best. No sensational claims, just real insight based on what I've seen in blood tests, bone scans, and daily habits over the past 20 years of treating patients just like you. Whether you're someone who grills every Sunday, eats sandwiches at lunch, or just wants to know what to cook for dinner without worrying if it's hurting your health. You'll walk away from this with a clearer sense of what your body needs now, not what worked for you 30 years ago. Let's start from the bottom, the worst of the bunch. And don't worry, I won't leave you hanging. For every bad option, I'll show you something better you can enjoy without guilt. All right, let's start at the bottom, the worst offender, the one I wish my patients would leave behind altogether, processed meats. Now, I know what you're thinking. You mean like bacon? Yes, bacon, but also ham, sausages, deli meats, pepperoni, hot dogs, salami, anything that's been smoked, cured, salted, or chemically preserved to extend shelf life or boost flavor. They're often staples in our kitchens, in our lunch boxes, on holiday tables. But for people over 60, they've become what I quietly call the silent saboteurs. Let me tell you about Frank. Frank is 69th Vietnam veteran, worked with his hands all his life, raised 2 daughters, retired with a quiet pride. Every morning, for as long as he could remember, he'd fry up a few strips of bacon with his eggs. For lunch, a ham sandwich maybe, with a side of pickles. "It's what I grew up on, Doc," he told me. "It keeps me going." But about 6 months ago, Frank started experiencing headaches and dizziness. His blood pressure spiked. His kidney function, once stable, showed signs of decline. The kicker? He hadn't changed anything else. Still walked 3 miles a day, still watched his sugar. But we looked closer at his diet, and there they were. The usual suspects: bacon, deli meats, canned soups, all loaded with sodium nitrates, preservatives, and enough salt to quietly chip away at his arteries day after day. And this isn't just Frank's story. Multiple large-scale studies now link processed meats to higher risks of heart disease, colorectal cancer, stroke, and even dementia. The mechanisms aren't complicated. These meats often contain chemical compounds like nitrites and advanced glycation end products that can promote chronic inflammation. That inflammation over time damages the lining of blood vessels, affects insulin sensitivity, and accelerates aging at the cellular level. What's tricky is how subtle it all is. Unlike greasy burgers or sugar-laden desserts, processed meats don't feel dangerous. They're convenient. They're tasty. They often wear a mask of moderation, just a few slices here, a little snack there. But the accumulation, it's real, and the packaging doesn't help. You'll see words like natural, low fat, lean turkey slices. But look at the fine print. If it says cured, smoked, or lists ingredients like sodium nitrite, you're likely holding a health trap in your hands. So what should you do? If this sounds like your daily menu, don't panic. But do get curious. Start by keeping a log of how often these meats show up in your meals. If it's more than twice a week, that's a red flag. Begin phasing them out, not overnight, but with purpose. Here's what I often suggest to my patients. Instead of deli ham, try roasted chicken breast cooked at home. Make a batch on Sunday, slice it thin, keep it in the fridge. Swap out breakfast bacon for sautéed mushrooms or a soft-boiled egg with avocado. If you crave something smoky, try smoked paprika or roasted garlic as seasoning instead. And when you do buy packaged meats, look for labels that say, no nitrates or nitrites added, and still eat those sparingly. Now, to be clear, this isn't about giving up every food you love. It's about recognizing what serves you now, in this stage of life. Because while our taste buds may crave what's familiar, our bodies are asking for something else entirely. Frank, he made the switch. Still eats sandwiches, but now it's grilled chicken on whole grain. He tells me he feels lighter, less foggy. His blood pressure's dropped, and his kidney numbers are holding steady. And every now and then, he'll still have a slice of bacon on his birthday. That's the balance I want for you. Not fear, but informed freedom. So, yes, processed meats may taste like tradition. But when it comes to your health past 60, they're the one tradition worth rethinking. After we cut back on processed meats, most patients feel relieved. Well, at least I'm not eating hot dogs, they'll say. Then they pause and add, but I do still love a good steak now and then. I get it. There's something about the sound of a steak sizzling on the grill or the rich aroma of pot roast on a Sunday afternoon that feels deeply American, familiar, comforting. These meals often carry memories, family dinners, backyard cookouts, traditions we're proud of. And for many people over 60, beef has been a staple for decades. But here's what I gently remind them. As we age, our body's relationship with red meat, especially fatty cuts, changes in ways we don't always feel until something gives. Let me introduce you to Eleanor. She's 72, lives alone in a small brick house just outside Kansas City. Sharp as a tack, loves crossword puzzles, and never misses her morning walk. Her guilty pleasure? Short ribs. She learned the recipe from her grandmother and slow-cooked them to perfection with potatoes and carrots. "Doc, they melt in your mouth," she once told me with a smile. But Eleanor came to see me a year ago after experiencing shortness of breath and a dull ache in her chest. Nothing dramatic, just something off. Her cholesterol was elevated, and a stress test showed early signs of reduced blood flow to her heart. No heart attack, thankfully, but enough for us to take a serious look at her diet. What stood out wasn't just the amount of red meat she ate, but the kind she preferred: marbled, juicy cuts, often cooked in butter or oil. These are the very types of meat highest in saturated fats that raise LDL cholesterol and contribute to plaque buildup in the arteries. For someone over 60, whose vessels are already more fragile and less elastic, that's a risky mix. Now, I want to be clear. Not all red meat is evil. In fact, lean cuts of beef can be part of a healthy diet, occasionally, and in moderation. But when we talk about fatty red meats, T-bones, ribeyes, chuck roast, brisket, we're talking about more than just calories. We're talking about long-term cardiovascular strain. Many of my patients say, "But I don't eat steak every day." And that's good. But frequency isn't the only issue. Quality and preparation matter too. Pan-frying a marbled steak in butter is different than grilling a lean sirloin and pairing it with roasted vegetables. So, what do we do if you love red meat? First, learn to recognize the difference between fatty and lean cuts. Look for pieces labeled loin or round. These tend to be leaner. Choose grass-fed beef when possible. It contains slightly healthier fat profiles, including more omega-3s. Trim visible fat before cooking, and skip the heavy sauces and frying. Try dry rubs, herbs, and grilling instead. Second, rethink portion size. In most American households, the meat takes center stage on the plate, but nutrition-wise, it should really be the sidekick. A deck of cards-sized portion, about 3 to 4 ounces, is all your body needs in one sitting. And finally, balance it out. If you're going to enjoy red meat once or twice a week, that's okay, as long as the rest of your meals include plant-based fiber, healthy fats, and lighter proteins. Eleanor made those changes. She still cooks short ribs, but only on special holidays, and she shares them with her church group. The rest of the week, she's become quite fond of lentil soup, grilled salmon, and turkey stuffed peppers. Her cholesterol numbers are down, she says she sleeps better, and the best part, I don't feel like I'm missing out. I just feel better. That's the sweet spot. Not deprivation, but informed decision-making. Eating in a way that supports the life you still want to live, actively, independently, with clarity and strength. So, if red meat still has a place on your plate, make it count. Let it be a choice, not a habit. After navigating the heavy terrain of red meats, many of my patients feel like they've found solid ground when they switch to chicken, and on the surface, that's a smart move. Chicken is often seen as the safe meat, the protein you reach for when you're watching your heart, your weight, or your cholesterol. It's lean, it's accessible, and it's what most doctors would rather see on your plate than a ribeye. But here's the thing. Chicken is only as healthy as the way it's prepared. And this is where I see so many well-meaning people over 60 get tripped up. Take Harold, for example. He's 66, retired postman, lives with his wife in a quiet suburb. He came to see me for a routine checkup. Blood pressure a bit elevated, triglycerides surprisingly high. Even though he said proudly, "Doc, I gave up burgers and switched to chicken." So we dug deeper. Turns out Harold's typical meals included fried chicken thighs, crispy, golden, straight from the grocery deli. Or sometimes he'd pick up pre-seasoned chicken from the freezer aisle, already breaded and salted. I thought as long as it's chicken, I was doing better, he admitted. And that's the common trap. Chicken by itself is a neutral player. It doesn't offer as much heart protective benefit as fish, but it's certainly not as risky as processed or fatty red meats. The problem isn't the meat, it's the skin, the breading, the oil, the sodium-heavy marinades that come with it. See, as we age, our ability to process excess sodium and saturated fat diminishes. That crispy skin, it's mostly saturated fat. That seasoning packet in the frozen chicken bag, likely loaded with salt, preservatives, and sometimes even sugar. The result? Elevated blood pressure, fluid retention, increased risk of heart disease, even when you think you're eating clean. But don't worry, the fix here is simple, and it doesn't require giving up chicken. Start by choosing the right cut, skinless chicken breast or thigh. Many people think chicken breast is the only healthy option, but skinless thighs can still be a good source of protein with a bit more flavor, especially when cooked right. Then, take control of the preparation. Bake it, grill it, poach it. Skip the deep fryer. Use olive oil instead of butter, herbs and citrus instead of prepackaged sauces. Marinate it yourself with garlic, lemon juice, or rosemary. Keep it simple, but let it shine. And remember, portion size. A lot of folks overdo it just because chicken feels safe. But too much protein in one sitting, especially at night, can still stress the kidneys, particularly for those already managing hypertension or diabetes. Think of a serving as the size of your palm. That's enough. I had another patient, Lorraine, who used to buy rotisserie chicken 3 times a week. "It's easy and it smells great," she told me. But when we looked at the label, that golden skin was hiding nearly 500 milligrams of sodium per serving, and she always ate more than a serving. So she started roasting her own chicken once a week instead. Same smell, better control, far fewer additives. Her blood pressure dropped, and she noticed less swelling in her ankles too. So, where does chicken stand on our ranking? Right in the middle. It won't hurt you if handled properly, but it won't protect you like fish or turkey either. It's a middle-of-the-road option that becomes healthy or harmful, depending on your choices in the kitchen. And sometimes it's the things we assume are safe that we need to examine most closely. So, the next time you pick up chicken for dinner, ask yourself, is it helping your heart or just dressed up to look like it is? After talking about chicken, the middle child of the meat world, it's time to move towards something I truly wish more of my patients embraced: fish. Now, I know fish isn't for everyone. Some folks tell me it's too fishy, or they're not sure how to cook it. Others say it feels like a fancy restaurant thing, not something they grew up with. But when we talk about eating for your heart, your memory, and your long-term energy past 60, fish isn't just a protein, it's a gift. Let me share a story about Alan. Alan is 70, a retired school principal from Michigan with a soft voice and kind eyes. When he came to see me a few years ago, he was starting to feel slower, Not tired exactly, but foggy. He'd forget little things, where he put his keys, names of neighbors he'd known for years. His blood pressure was stable, his cholesterol wasn't alarming, but something felt off. He said, "Doc, I feel like I'm in the room, but not quite plugged in." We ran some labs, checked his diet, and what stood out was this: almost no omega-3s in his system. That's the fatty acid found in fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. Omega-3s aren't just a buzzword. They're essential to brain health, blood flow, mood regulation, and even joint comfort. I asked Alan what his weekly protein looked like. "Mostly chicken," he said. "Sometimes pork, rarely fish. I don't really like cooking it." As Spao, we made a plan. Start small. Twice a week, replace one meat meal with fish. I gave him simple recipes: oven-baked salmon with lemon and dill, tuna salad with olive oil instead of mayo, grilled mackerel with roasted vegetables. And within months, Alan told me something surprising. "I feel clearer. My head doesn't feel heavy anymore." That's the power of fish, especially the oily kinds. When you're over 60, inflammation becomes a quiet enemy. It contributes to heart disease, arthritis, memory loss. The omega-3s in fatty fish act like internal firefighters. They reduce inflammation, improve circulation, and help keep blood vessels flexible. Plus, many fish are naturally high in vitamin D and selenium, nutrients that support bones, immune function, and even sleep. But not all fish are created equal. The best choices: salmon, sardines, mackerel, trout. These are high in omega-3s and low in mercury. If you're worried about mercury, avoid large predatory fish like swordfish, king mackerel, and tilefish, especially if you're eating them often. And how you cook fish matters too. Fried fish, especially in processed batters or fast food chains, loses much of its benefit and brings added sodium and trans fats. Bake, grill, steam, or poach instead. Add herbs, lemon, garlic, even a drizzle of olive oil. Keep it simple and fresh. Another patient, Denise, 67, recently widowed, started hosting Fish Fridays with her neighbors. It began as a way to fight off loneliness, but quickly became a health habit. They'd rotate houses, each preparing a different fish dish. Not only did Denise lower her triglycerides, but she said, "I feel lighter, happier even." Fish has this beautiful way of being both nourishing and comforting when given the chance. If you've been avoiding it because it seems complicated or unfamiliar, I encourage you to start small. Try canned sardines or salmon in a salad, or visit a local seafood market and ask for the mildest, freshest fillet they have. Many places will even clean and portion it for you. And if cooking is a challenge, there are now high-quality frozen options. Individually sealed wild salmon fillets, for instance, that can go straight into the oven. The goal isn't to eat fish every day. Twice a week is a great place to start. But those two meals, they can make a quiet but profound difference. So, in our ranking, fish earns a well-deserved place near the top. It's not just healthy, it's healing. Gentle on the body, powerful in its impact, and deeply supportive of everything we want more of after 60. Clear thinking, strong hearts, steady energy. Give it a chance. Your brain and heart will thank you. If fish is the underrated hero of healthy aging, then turkey is its quiet cousin, reliable, overlooked, and far better for you than most people realize. When I ask my patients about turkey, I usually get the same response. "Isn't that just for Thanksgiving?" And I get it. We tend to associate turkey with one big holiday meal, smothered in gravy and stuffing, followed by a long nap on the couch. But that single image has done turkey a bit of a disservice, because when prepared the right way, turkey, especially the white breast meat, may just be the best everyday protein choice for folks over 60. Let me tell you about Joanne. She's 70, lives alone, but keeps busy tending a small backyard garden and volunteering at her church. A few months ago, Joanne came to me with complaints of afternoon fatigue and mild blood sugar spikes. She wasn't diabetic, but her fasting glucose had crept up. She told me she often skipped lunch or grabbed whatever was easy, sometimes peanut butter crackers, sometimes leftover pasta. We had a simple conversation about protein, how consistent, lean protein throughout the day can help stabilize energy and even support blood sugar regulation. I suggested turkey, not the deli kind, but roasted sliced turkey breast she could prep in advance. She gave me a skeptical look and said, "Like, Thanksgiving turkey? On a Tuesday? Why not? Within weeks, Joanne was roasting a small turkey breast every Sunday. She'd slice it up, portion it into meals, salads, wraps, warm grain bowls. Nothing fancy, just clean, simple fuel. When she returned a month later, her energy was steadier, her glucose readings were back in range, and she was sleeping better. And, she added with a wink, I've gotten really good at rosemary garlic turkey. What makes turkey such a great option? It's low in saturated fat, high in protein, and rich in selenium, a powerful antioxidant that supports immune health, and may even play a role in mood regulation. It also contains tryptophan, which the body uses to make serotonin and melatonin chemicals that support mood balance and restful sleep. Plus, turkey is highly satisfying. It keeps you full longer, which helps curb unnecessary snacking. Of course, just like chicken, it depends on preparation. Skip the processed deli slices that are packed with sodium. Roast your own. Use herbs and olive oil instead of sauces or gravy. Keep the skin off if you're watching cholesterol. Turkey doesn't have to be fancy, and it doesn't have to wait for November. In fact, it might be the most consistent, forgiving, and quietly powerful protein you can add to your weekly routine. Sometimes, the best medicine is what's already in your fridge. You just have to see it differently. Now that we've made our way through each type of meat, from the ones quietly chipping away at your health to those quietly strengthening it, let's bring it all together. Because after 60, your body speaks a different language, and food becomes more than just fuel. It's not about strict rules or perfection. It's about paying attention, choosing what makes you feel lighter, clearer, stronger in the long run. At the bottom of our ranking are processed meats like bacon, ham, and cold cuts high in salt and chemicals, and best avoided altogether. Just above that, we have fatty red meats. Delicious, yes, but high in saturated fats that can push your heart too hard if eaten regularly. Next, we reach chicken neutral ground. It can be a healthy ally or a hidden trap, depending entirely on how it's cooked. Then we climb higher to fatty fish like salmon and sardines, rich in omega-3s that guard your memory, joints, and blood vessels. And finally, topping our list is turkey breast, lean, satisfying, and quietly powerful, offering nutrients that support energy, sleep, and immunity. If you're wondering where to start, just reflect on your last week. Did processed meats sneak into your meals more than once? Did red meat show up as a centerpiece or a small side? Was your chicken fried or roasted? Did you get at least 2 servings of fish? And have you given turkey a chance outside of Thanksgiving? The point isn't guilt, it's gentle curiosity. Because at this stage of life, every small choice adds up. And when you begin noticing how certain foods make you feel, not just in your body, but in your clarity, mood, and movement, you'll naturally start choosing the ones that carry you forward. After all, food should still bring joy. But now, it has the power to bring steadiness, strength, and a little more time doing what you love with the people you love. You've made it to the end, and now I'd love to hear from you. Out of the 5 levels we've talked about, where do you think your current habits fall? Are you still leaning on processed meats out of convenience? Are you experimenting more with fish, or maybe just discovering turkey in a whole new way? Let me know in the comments. Your story might help someone else make that same step forward. If this video sparks something for you, a new question, a shift in perspective, or even just a reminder to check the labels more carefully, share that too. And if you've already made some changes and felt the difference, your experience could be the encouragement someone else needs right now. Remember, this isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about progress, not pressure. So let's learn from one another. I read every comment, and I'd love to know what's one small change that you're ready to try this week. If you found this helpful, pass it along to a friend or family member over 60. And don't forget to subscribe, because we've got more honest, practical health talk coming your way soon.